Mr. C back with you, everybody. We're going to do some beef stroganoff tonight. It's a pretty quick meal, actually kind of an inexpensive meal, and it's very good. So I'll go over what we're going to be putting in this thing. I make mine a little different than a lot of people do, but we'll go over that in a minute. I've got about a pound of sirloin that I've cut up real thin. Now what I did with this, a lot of people don't know this, but I take my beef, if I'm going to fry it in the skillet and put it into a stew or something like this, I will soak it in milk, and I'll do that from 4 to 12 hours up to 14, 15 hours. This was soaking for about 14 or 15. And a lot of times people don't know that milk is acidic. So, you know, a lot of people use different marinades and stuff, but the thing I like about milk with the beef is it will break it down. It tenderizes it, but it doesn't actually disintegrate the meat, because a lot of times acidity will do that, and if you leave it in there too long, it will actually toughen the meat instead of breaking down the carnages in the meat. All right, so try that one time. Use milk, put a little seasoning in there, soak it overnight, or, you know, at least 4 to 6 hours. You'll be amazed at how tender it really comes out. I mean, you can just see it's great. All right, so in addition to that, we'll be using sour cream, beef broth, Worcestershire sauce. We like mushrooms in ours. You can put it in or leave it out. I'll need a little bit of oil to get the meat started cooking down. And a lot of people use mustard in theirs. I don't like mustard base in my stroganoff. I use ketchup. So try that sometime too. It's a different twist to the flavor. It's more of a sweet flavor than a soured flavor with the mustard. Okay, so I'm going to get my pot going, get the grease in there, start doing the meat here in a few minutes, and I'll catch y'all shortly. Okay, so we're going to get the meat going here, and start getting my grease hot. I'm going to put just a couple tablespoons of oil in there. Don't need a whole lot, and we're going to get that going, and we're going to do the meat and the mushrooms at the same time, sauteing it in the oil, cooking it down. Okay, I put a couple tablespoons of oil, and it's starting to heat up. Now I'll brown this meat over medium heat. You don't want it too hot. You just want to kind of slow do it. And I throw my mushrooms in with it. And I just throw the whole jar in. Like I say, some people like mushrooms, some people don't. You can leave them in, leave them out. You can put onions in here instead, or something like that. Kind of mix this around. I did drain the mushroom water off the mushrooms. I didn't, you know, so you don't want to be dropping the liquid in there with it. But so we're gonna let that go just a little bit. I'm gonna add a little bit of pepper. I'm not gonna salt this meat because it's gonna be salted in the sauce, and I don't want it over salted. So, all right, so we're gonna cook this down and come back in a few minutes, and we'll tell you where we go from there. Okay, so the meat is browned. You don't want to overcook the meat. The longer you cook it, the tougher it gets. So I'm going to pull the meat out. I'm going to set it aside. I'm going to start making our broth. This is really a good meal because, especially people who's new to cooking, it's an easy meal. And it's fast. You come home one night from working hard all day, and it's literally you can have this meal made up in 25 minutes. You're pretty much ready. So All right, so I've got that out of there, got the meat out, and set it aside. Now we're gonna start going in with our broth. And I'm gonna dump the whole thing in, which is about 4 cups, I think. I might do a little less, but I'm gonna add in, that's about 4 cups. We'll do about 6 cups of broth. So 1.5 of these should do it. All right, we'll start bringing this up to temp. The thing we're gonna need to do is gonna have to add a little flour to it to thicken it up. And we'll add in about 3 tablespoons of flour. And I'll show you what I like to do with that too. Okay, so we're working on bringing the broth up to temp. I'm gonna take out about a cup. Hit it pretty close, actually. We're gonna add some flour to the broth. And I'm gonna add in 2 tablespoons of flour. A lot of people are scared to make a gravy or whatever. It's really not hard. If you make it you put in too much flour and it gets a little thick, then you add in a little more juice or water or broth or whatever you got. I use this little stir guy here. Seems to work pretty good. But it's a lot easier to me. If you try and dump the flour into the pot, you're gonna get a lot of clumpy flour. So if you mix it in on the side and then pour that back in as it cooks, it will thicken up. But when you add this, you want to wait till you've got a medium boil on it, which we're almost there, just a little bit at a time. You kind of just feed it in there. All right, so we got the broth in the pot starting to come up to temp. You want it where it's just at a light boil. A little tool here is kind of a stick and spin, which works good for busting that flour up inside that broth. And we're just gonna add this back into the broth. So that cup we took out, we're just adding right back in. This will thicken as we cook. But yeah, if you take and you mix it in the broth, and you don't get all clumpy flour clumps in your gravy. All right, so we got that in. Now we're going to start going in with our other ingredients. This is a 24 ounce of sour cream. I'm probably going to use 2/3 of this. Some people use heavy whipping cream. Some people use heavy whipping cream and sour cream. There's a lot of variations to this. This is just what we like. Okay, so I got my little whisk, and that sour cream that I put in there, I'm just kind of busting it down, taking the clumps out of it. And then we're going to add some ketchup. All right, so we've got that clumps thinned out of it. I'm not measuring, but I'm going to put in about a 1/2 cup of ketchup, if that, but about a 1/2 cup. You do that, then too much ketchup, but it's going to taste, you can really taste the ketchup. You just want a hint of it. You still want the beef flavor to it. So I'm mixing in the ketchup. Now I'm going to go in, hit it with a tablespoon of Worcestershire. Not a lot, just a little bit. Throw that in there, get it mixed in. All right, so my wife seems to think that I need to shave my beard back. Now, I've worked hard to get it this long. So you guys put in the comments, should I shave my beard back or should I keep it? Y'all let me know. All right, so now we've added in the sour cream and the ketchup and the flour. Now we're just gonna add our meat back in. And that's pretty much it. Now the longer this cooks, the more it will thicken up. And if you need to thicken it up more, which I'm looking I may have to, I'll go back in, take a little bit of this broth back out again, add a little more flour back in, and we'll thicken it back up. So that's pretty much it. It's simple. Then we're gonna do some egg noodles, and it will go over the egg noodles. I'm kind of a rice guy. My wife likes it over noodles, so I will make a thing of rice also, because you know some people have their preference on those, and I'm just letting you know you could do it over either one. Doesn't really matter. So, all right. So we're gonna let this simmer a little bit, and then we'll come back. If I need to thicken it up, we'll thicken it up some, and we'll go from there. Okay, so I'm checking this broth again. She's a little soupy. So I'm going to do what I did before. I'm going to go in here and take some more broth. I'm going to add some more flour to the broth. This time I'm going to add about 2.5 tablespoons of flour. First time I added 2 tablespoons of flour. So we're going to mix it up again with the gravy, which is coming out really thick, by the way. Add a little more broth. All right, so we're going to go back in and add in about half of that. All right, so we added some more flour to it to thicken the broth up. Now we're going to let it drop to a medium simmer, and it should finish thickening up, and then we'll show you the rest here in a little bit. Now anything I got left really to do, I'm going to add a little bit of salt, about 1/2 tablespoon of salt, and about 1 tablespoon of pepper. Give that a stir. And like I say, we're getting ready to do the pasta. So I mean, the sauce is pretty much done. That's simple. I mean, it's easy. And so we'll get this over to the side here in a few minutes. We'll get our pasta going. When I get the pasta done, we're eating. So I'll see you in a little bit. All right, so pasta's done. The Beef Stroganoff sauce is over it with the meat and mushrooms, a little salt and pepper, and ready to go. Easy, quick meal. It's very, very good. Try it with the ketchup instead of the mustard. That'll be a twist for you. So, and remember, slice your meat real thin, soak it in milk and some seasoning for 4 to 6 up to 12 hours. And so give it a try, see what you think. And enjoyed it. See you the next go around. If you don't mind, hit that like button, subscribe, and share. That would be awesome. And it don't take me just a second to do it. Don't cost anything. Trying to grow the channel, and we'll be doing some more cooking here in a few days. Appreciate you. Take care.